on your forecast in terms of the upsides, and you sort of weighted the upsides as kind of 20%. Stronger things that could sort of change the coin of the realm here: stronger consumer spending, faster interest rate cuts, quicker resolution of global conflicts like the war between Russia and Ukraine. Downside risks, you gave kind of a 25% weight to, and said that that would be elevated interest rates, which push us into a recession, global conflicts intensify, and then you mentioned potential tariff impacts. We do have President-elect Trump coming in January talking about both very high tariffs, we're a very trade-dependent state, and also about deep cuts to the federal government, which could affect federal funds flowing to the state. So these are variables that you can only guess at this point. But how would you factor those in at this point? Or what would you, again, as you're advising policymakers, how should they be thinking about those potentialities?
Well, at this point, we don't really know a lot yet. There was a lot discussed by the president-elect about different tariff options, and some are very elevated and some not so much. And of course, even then, there's still a whole process to get to a negotiated level of what the tariffs actually are. Our main intent was to highlight, to just remind folks that that's something that's important to Washington, because we are a pretty trade-dependent state. About 20% of our exports are agricultural products. They're probably the ones that would be impacted pretty significantly, as they were back in 2018. 40% of our exports are transportation equipment, largely Boeing airplanes. Those seem to get kind of a pass in 2018. But there's just so much uncertainty, and not only on what domestic policy will be, but also how other countries will retaliate, or will they retaliate, and what will that look like? And so we haven't made any explicit adjustments yet to our model on as far as things like that goes, but we will be over time as we see things unfold.
You can check out the rest of the show by clicking on the link below, or by watching Inside Olympia Thursday evenings at 7 and 10.